Unfortunately, a successful RISE project is not just about a great project plan, an amazing business case, or even a architectural structure that was just to die for. The reality is we need to communicate the project, the technical architecture to different people within inside an organization. What makes RISE different is it impacts different folks at different levels in different departments. And that means we need to talk to those individuals in a way and style that best resonates with them. Today, I'm going to show you 3 techniques that you can use with AI to help take your communication to the next level for your project. Let's have a look. Right, so the first thing we can do is we can take the list of attendees and their emails with a really clever prompt. We can place them inside of, in this case, I'm using AI Studio, but it could be Gemini directly. And I can ask it to do some research on those individuals. And what I'm interested in is what can it find on the internet or with inside our internal documents about their role, their responsibilities, and the things that they like and the way that they like to be presented to. So, for example, I might have a presentation to a finance team and they really want to see the metrics and the ROI associated to the project. Whereas the sales team might be more interested in how this is going to make them more efficient so that they can drive better customer service to their sales team and therefore drive a better outcome for their customers. So here we can see that the system has gone away. It's got my profile, the type of presentation style that I like, and I can confirm that is how I like to be presented to. I'm quite technically astute, but I also like very forward thinking and innovative approaches. My colleague Ian Moria here is more technical and architectural in nature, but he does like to have more business outcome orientated, which I can confirm that does sound very much like Ian. So from this, I now know the type of person that I'm presenting to. So now I have the information about the 2 individuals I'm presenting to. I can load that information into this prompt here, which also contains my presentation. What we're going to ask the system to do now is to review both the presentation and the individual's tone and the way that they like to be informed, and have the model make suggestions on how that presentation can be altered so that it best resonates with me as the individual that's being presented to. So not only has it gone through the presentation, but it's going to make specific recommendations. So it's gone specifically to slide 20 here, and it suggested I retitle that slide and take a slightly different approach that would resonate with me more as an individual. On slide 18, as Ian Moria is more focused on things that are maybe more technical, it's suggested that we highlight on 18 this thing called an ABAP SDK and connector and re-emphasize that element of the presentation. So in some cases, it may not be that I need to modify the presentation, more that it's going to give us some idea of how to maybe restructure the presentation or certain things that I need to emphasize when I'm delivering it. So at this point, I've delivered my presentation. But the question is, how well did I do? So the final thing that we can do is we can take a video of that presentation and put it through AI Studio or Gemini and ask it to do an assessment. And so we can understand whether we did in fact resonate with the individual that we were presenting to. Did we cover the topics in a way that seemed to connect with them as individuals? So let's have a look at that. So I've uploaded the presentation and my clever little prompt. And this is really looking at the tone and the way that the presentation was delivered. So the prompt itself isn't specific to the content that I'm delivering. What the prompt does is it starts to look at how I'm delivering that content and the phrasing that I'm using and how the presentation came across in either a professional or polished way. You can see at the top here, it talks a little bit more about how I need to use a little bit more storytelling, and it picks on certain parts of the presentation at 55 seconds into the presentation where I could maybe tell a broader story to sort of bring that point to life. Wow, it's like having your own professional coach here. But it's important because connecting with the people that you're presenting to is success and failure in any project, whether it's SAP or not. But given the complexity and the diversity of the folks that you're trying to influence and you're trying to convince and you're trying to get excited about your RISE project, these are some of the more complicated engagements that you can deal with. And so what we did today was we took a list of email addresses. So if you get an invite for a meeting or you're sending an invite for a meeting related to your SAP migration, you can drop those emails into that prompt and it lets you know who's going to be in the room and what they're interested in and it's kind of the style that they like to be presented to. We can then drop our deck into another prompt with that information and it will correlate those two things. And as you can see, it will then identify if there are certain tweaks that need to be made to the presentation. And then finally, if it's been recorded, as many are, if they're a remote presentation, we often record these things these days. We can take that recording, we can pass it through, and it can give us tips on the style and the way that we've delivered that presentation, namely the sort of storytelling. I just wonder if it buys the beers at the end afterwards. I don't know. How did they figure that one out? What do you think?